the government policy is to deliver quality health services to every Ghanaian everywhere. And that is the Sustainable Development Goal 3 that we want to achieve by 2030. We are going to use the drones to deliver drugs, essential drugs for that matter, and services in the most efficient, effective, and cheapest way to the remotest and on the underserved parts of this country. Let us think of those who live in the most inaccessible places in Ghana. Yet, they are the people who provide a lot for us. I'm not thinking about the privileged few in the cities. So I have a problem when people are talking and they are not looking at these issues. What we are doing is that we are trying to bring a system. We are taking advantage of information communication technology to improve the efficiency of healthcare system in this country. And that's exactly what we are doing. Ghana is one of the first countries, or the first country in Africa, which institutionalized National Health Insurance Scheme, so that there's a financial accessibility. There are a lot of CHIP centers and health centers, hospitals, which are being built all over the place, so that there's also physical accessibility. If you have the physical structures, we have the financial accessibility for people, and people go to these facilities, and they don't get the logistics that they need. Even if there's a worker there, he doesn't get, if he just sits down and sees somebody who is bitten by a snake, or a woman who is bleeding after delivery and is bleeding to death because the worker cannot even get a pint of blood to save the woman's life, then it is very frustrating.
So this drone system will what? Will pick up you. I want you to walk me through how this works from the point of request to the point of delivery. Somebody will make a request that we need blood, and then what? The drone will pick the blood and go and drop it there. How does this work in real terms? How will this work? How is it going to work in real terms?
Let me take you through the 4 simple steps that the drone will work. First, a health practitioner will place an order that he needs an essential drug or medicine through a phone call, SMS message, or WhatsApp, or web form. And then it goes straight to the distribution center, and the product is prepared and immediately sent to the site. The product will then get to the site, and the drone, which is autonomous, it's like a small plane, which will fly directly to where it's supposed to be within a matter of 30 to 45 minutes, drop it, and it's picked and is used on the patient.
That will require some.
So it's as simple as that.
That will require some basic infrastructure to make it work. Internet is one.
That requires some infrastructure. So
yes.
When we thought about this, in fact, the same people who are complaining now were the same people who were applauding Rwanda when drones were.
Well, I want to stick to understanding this for the man who is in the village. I want to understand this in terms of the infrastructure, the internet infrastructure. For example, that these very remote areas you're talking about will require. Have we put this in place already, and what is going to take to have this in place?
Yes, there are infrastructure in place. There are some places we have even a health center, a CHIP center, but they don't have the essential medicines, and they cannot get access to blood to treat a patient. So that infrastructure is in place. So what we need to do, those that we have the infrastructure in place, I will not sit down here and also lie to you that everywhere, every place, we have put an infrastructure there. But we have made it possible that nobody walks for more than 5 to 10 kilometers without an infrastructure where you can.
Yeah, but so that is a challenge, right? I mean, there's an infrastructural gap that you need to put in place.
Yes,
that we don't have in all places, and especially in these remote areas.
Yeah, but there will be always gaps. But the gaps that we have, whilst we are filling the gap, we also to improve the efficiency of the services that we are doing.
But Dr. Nsia, what it means is that you have not yet filled that gap you're talking about, but then you're going ahead to work out this contract. So at the end of the day, you have a contract that has been signed and it's sitting now. It's a white elephant because you don't have the necessary infrastructure to make it work.
That is not the case. We see what we are doing. For example, the first distribution center will be serving over 500 facilities. So we know that there is infrastructure in place for the distribution to be done. And everybody, you should not get us wrong. And I said it at a press conference, Ghana government is not buying a drone. Ghana government is not building a distribution center where the drones will be and then will deliver the products. Ghana government is not buying refrigerators for the blood which will be stored at the distribution centers. What Ghana government is doing and what the whole agreement is a service. It's a performance-based service agreement for services that even if you don't use drones, people are paying for. For services that if you don't use drones, the hospitals are paying for. For example, if you want blood, as we heard recently over the weekend, Komfo-Anokye, somebody needs blood from Komfo-Anokye. It's a patient's relatives who walked to Komfo-Anokye with a requisition and went and took the blood, sat in a taxi, and then drove to the hospital for the blood to be given to the patient. This is something that we want to do. For example, if somebody needs blood in a very remote area, a riverine area, it's raining, the rains are have cut off the health facility. I think we all saw where people were put on motorcycles and they were crossing river and all sorts of things. These are the places that we are.
And that was Dr. Anthony Nsiah-Asare speaking to Evans Mensah and Gifty and appear on Newsnight last night. Let's now hear the other side of the argument now. The minority in Parliament has been saying that we are paying too much for this deal and Zipline is making too much of a profit. Here's Kezelato Forsen.
His Excellency the Vice President is leading Ghana into the path of unrighteousness. The Vice President is leading Ghana to commit ourselves into a deal that will be very woefully to the finances of this country. In fact, he's going to cause financial loss to the state because clearly the document that has been presented to Parliament is nothing but fraudulent. It's criminal. It's thievery.
And that's the view of Kezelato Forsen. He is the minority spokesperson on finance. Let's go straight to the phone lines now and hear the president and founder of Imani Africa, Franklin Cudjoe. Okay, Mr. Cudjoe will be joining us very shortly on the line. But Raymond, it seems like we have split hairs on this issue, and as a result, Parliament has even suspended deliberating it.
Yes, and I'm all for making sure that the financial prudence that's required on every single deal is done. I'm also for making sure that health delivery is accessible to the ordinary person. And I think we can marry the two by ensuring that the state's interest is ultimate in all of these. One, some have raised concerns that is it our biggest need in the healthcare delivery system today? Their basis is pretty simple. When the issues were chronicled, and I'm sure you've heard some of them, the issues about ambulances, the issues about need for specific health facilities, the issues about making sure that there's enough stocking of medicine in all of these facilities and the right machines in the facilities, the issues about whether or not it is still germane to have only 15 CHIPS compounds being built across the country this year. Those were the issues that were being contended heavily. In fact, when the Vice President introduced the issue, the main issue was not even about the finances. I'm sure now that we are getting the details, that's why we are contesting now. The main issue was, when are you going to deliver on your promise? And that, you said you do it in 2017, it didn't happen. 2018, you gave an earlier date, it didn't happen too. So that would have been sounding like, well, if he wants to do it now, why the big deal? I think there's a real need, and there are some areas that are genuinely cut off sometimes. Let's not kid ourselves when we sit in the city and pretend that all places have. There are some areas that are genuinely cut off sometimes. Some health officials struggle to get specific medicine in various forms for their people in these areas. Again, as to the scale of it, I cannot pretend to know how widespread the problem is.
Dr. Nsiah-Asare suggested that 30% of women who die in labor die because of bleeding. They don't have enough blood.
Yes, but would the apt solution be the quick delivery through a drone service? Would that be the main solution? Or an effective healthcare delivery system that makes the provision of blood at the district level an effective one too?
Let's look at this on a policy level.
Yeah.
Franklin Cudjoe has joined us on the line, and he's going to share his thoughts with us on this matter. Good morning, Mr. Cudjoe. Thanks for your time.
Good morning, my good friend and Raymond.
Great. Franklin, before we begin this, from a policy perspective, is this the direction that you would have expected us to go in?
Well, first of all, let's not discount the impact of technology. And I think that technology is very important. When you look at the World Innovations Index, we typically are ranking in the very negative. So innovations such as these are wonderful and we should be applauding. However, the challenge, and I think the challenge I've had, the challenge of this particular drone business, apart from the issues around procurement and what have you, is that the Ghana Health Service Directorate and then the persons who are speaking on behalf of this project seems to not to understand what they're actually suggesting to us. I mean, apart from the love for technology, they seem to be suggesting that we should be leapfrogging our very rudimentary problems, which you and Raymond are typically, eloquently putting out in the studio. If I heard correctly, the idea is that to prevent postnatal hemorrhage, we should be able to deploy these drones. Then it means that the drone possibly must have a capability of identifying pregnant women at every nook and cranny of the country.
Well, now, delivery of blood, just because of, because I see you proceeding on that premise, Mr. Cudjoe, it's not limited to that. It's not even limited to just delivery of blood. They are talking about emergency medical implements. For instance, in Rwanda, we see anti-snake venom to treat snake bites, management of rabies, poison, severe infections,
but Daniel,
vaccines, program commodities.
I mean, all of that and all that, I hear all of those. But the challenge with us in this country is about how to ensure that district hospitals in this country are properly equipped, and then ensure that the districts are connected to the various areas as well. So if they have an infrastructure problem, that ought to be dealt with. You don't actually deploy a system that supposedly is now to leapfrog all the infrastructure problems that you're likely to have. I've heard questions about mapping that people are also asking. How exactly are you mapping these very areas that you think there are challenges? So for me, it's a question of not carefully planning, because if the overriding argument has been made, forget about anti-snake serum. One of the major issues around this particular project is about blood delivery. And the argument is that 30% of deaths, postnatal deaths, are related to hemorrhage. So the question is, are these persons who give birth going to be targeted as in the facility, or at the point of need where they will need these things, they are going to be met? And I think these questions ought to be asked. This is not to discount the need for drones. And I think that, look, in spite, of course, if there are war zones, if there are places that are motorable, maybe yes. But I suspect that the combination of the fund, the budget, as well as the reasons being given for this delivery is quite not convincing. In any case, you can drop medicines from the skies. And I recall the former President Bill Clinton saying the same thing. You can drop all these things from the sky. But if you do not have the infrastructure, as in the doctors, if you do not have the healthcare personnel to ensure that these things are deployed properly, you still have a challenge. So not to discount the need for drones, but I thought the drones would be better served in fighting Galamsey than actually being deployed for something that we should be dealing with. And there's something else ahead, that we need these drones because even if district hospitals exist, they are not able to store blood because they do not have refrigerators. I mean, come on. So don't you just provide these things? There are mobile refrigerators that can be provided. So I think the proponents, the supporters, the sponsors of this drone business, unfortunately, are not convincing us quite well enough. But the general principle is a good one.
So your argument would be that there could be other options to solve the main problems that the drone delivery service would solve?
Well, let me be very political here. If we discounted the need for creation regions and spent almost 1 billion cedis that we are going to spend in that exercise, we could be actually narrowing some of these gaps anyway. So the challenge has always been infrastructure. Look, the other day I traveled from, to my hometown, Lulubi, the road from Peki to Peve is like a war zone. And we nearly had death crashes. And I'm asking myself, while contractors were working on the road, they were taking off. Now, if there's a health need there, you deploy a drone. But there was something that should have been done earlier anyway. So let's not discount the politics out of this as well. And I hear from Professor Asari when he talks about we're not politicizing this issue. Well, healthcare is politics. If you look at the budgetary allocations year on year, you would have thought that this hefty amount can do quite a lot in actually narrowing the gap, rather than this, which seems to be quite fanciful anyway. You see, if we had proper housing, and that could help people identify where everybody else is, then maybe yes. I've said that in addition to the drones delivering blood to pregnant women, maybe we should have a drone identification number, because otherwise, look, this is a wild project that can be dealt with when we have actually done proper allocations to districts in order to take care of. Look at the district budgets.
Mr. Kujo,
yes.
Mr. Kujo, for some of the issues that you raise with the infrastructure gap and with the provision of some implements that these hospitals would need, some would say that, in fact, work is already being done in those areas. So you were talking about a bad road. We know that the first tranche of the Sino-Hydro monies are being made available to do the first batch of construction of roads. You're talking about healthcare infrastructure. We are talking about procurement of ambulances. We are talking about expanding our general infrastructure. If I may finish, we can walk and chew gum at the same time, can't we? We are not. This could be an interim measure, couldn't it?
Oh yes, we can. I mean, what we are actually dealing with is with the sums involved, and indeed the whole rationale being given. That's why I said the proponents of this idea, the rationalization they are giving to it is a bit not clear. Look, on the back of the daily graphics today, what do you see? The Japanese are giving aid for basic health kits, which we don't have. You don't need drones to deploy such things. You understand? So for me, it's about the first things first. This argument can be escalated if you want to look at it. There was a time when the WHO thought that, look, the reasons people are dying in Africa is because of expensive drugs. But the challenges were that it wasn't expensive drugs, and that while Coca-Cola, for instance, has been shipping tuberculosis vaccines, vaccines that are supposed to be refrigerated across sub-Saharan Africa, people are still dying as a result of lack of proper feeding, lack of medical personnel, and lack of proper sanitation. So, yeah, I hear you. It's a combination of factors. All I'm saying is that there's one that ought to have been done and done properly. Otherwise, if we obviate that need and then say that we would have drones all the time, I mean, look at the running cost of the drones. We are told they are not buying the drones, but they are renting the drones. So what? We'll keep renting the drones forever when we needed to build more cheap compounds. How many cheap compounds do we have? Negligible. We are not building and maintaining the cheap compounds well. The first point of care is the human resource, the human care. And I don't think this country is so backward that we cannot provide this thing. Then again,
Mr. Kujo, just a quick intervention. As of 2016, we had about 6,000 CHIPS compounds. We can't call that number negligible, can we?
Well, let me take you on your own argument. It is not negligible. But how many communities do we have? CHIP compounds are supposed to be based in communities. They are not district-level facilities. It's like even asking the number of villages in the country. We don't have 6,000 villages. We have.
Is the principle of a CHIPS compound to be in every? Is the principle of a CHIPS compound to be in every single village in the country?
Well, you see, naturally, if you want to narrow the inequality gap,
of course,
you are supposed to ensure that these are befitting places where people can have access to healthcare.
Right.
How much does it cost to put up a CHIP compound?
Right.
Not much.
Right. Yes. So back to the main issue. Your argument is that in principle this is a good idea, but not now.
It's not even a question of not now. It's a question of whether that is going to replace what we should have been doing anyway. Look at the amount involved. What amount again? Is it 12 million or whatever I'm hearing?
Yes, $12 million. Now,
yes. Well, question is, compare that to the areas that supposedly have been mapped. We don't even know where have been mapped. and the connections to the drone and all of that. There's a whole infrastructure that needs to be deployed. Point is, if you wanted to focus on the need level, the basis of need across the country, then you probably need a lot more drones and you need a lot more facilities. So the argument I'm making is that in the absence of what should have happened, and what should have happened should not take more than a year or two to fix, we shouldn't be piling up debts on a technology that can deliver only to just a few people at a point in time. I mean, how much blood can that carry at a point in time? And how many drones are we procuring, really? Assuming there was a pandemic, let's assume there was a pandemic, and then we had all these scares across the country. Would a drone cover all of those?
We are looking at a target of 14 to 16 million people in 30 hospitals, 600 flights per day.
You are looking at what again, sorry?
14 to 16 million people covered in 30 hospitals with over 600 flights per day.
So 30 million Ghanaians do not have access to basic health care. Is that the point we are trying to make? And that the drones would now solve all that problems?
Actually, it's the drone provides an implement that supplements healthcare delivery. So we are looking at drugs, we are looking at blood, we are looking at other logistics and supplies they need that doctors and nurses will be using. So it's not really
Are you suggesting emergency situations? You see, the challenge about this particular business is that it's as if the healthcare situation is an emergency situation 24/7. You see, that's why the protocols need to be established.
And then again, you see, I'm sorry, but I'm stepping in so that we can couch the premises on which we are proceeding. It's not just emergency services as well. So that, yes, vaccines, for instance, are going to be deployed. Vaccines are not emergency implements. Of course, unless, of course, there's an epidemic. So then again, I'm going. Go ahead.
And vaccines to be deployed because they need to be stored in good condition. And I'm just saying that so in the absence of proper storage, which doesn't cost a lot to buy anyway, we have mobile storages and all of that for every district. We will constantly be deploying drones in order to do vaccinations and keep vaccines going so that 16 million people can benefit for how long? You see, there's again, nobody is discounting the need for supplementary support for these kinds of interventions. But all we are saying is that how are we actually marrying that with what ought to have been done in the first place? You know, my challenge is understanding this issue about distributing drugs. You think Tobinco, all these big pharmaceutical companies do not have distribution channels for drugs? GlaxoSmithKline, they have all of these in this country. I don't think that there's been some concern as it is with fake drugs than it is with actually for distribution channels for drugs. So unless you're actually delivering some very interesting drugs that I don't know, unless you need to know what type of drugs you're actually delivering. But the overriding point I'm making is that if it is suggested that we need to pile up these bills because 30 million people or so are underserved, and they will be served on a 24-hourly basis, question I have is that as a project we are delivering forever or for a foreseeable time? How long are we delivering it? Is it going to replace what we needed to do, the basic healthcare we need to provide for our people? Those concerns are legitimate.
So you have questions about the scope and the need.
Specific areas that are not reachable, and maybe because there are pandemics, there are issues, clear and present dangerous issues. There may be, yes, but the justification for me, it still doesn't sound so right, really. I mean, except to say that a drone is needed to pick something from one place to the other. But even not with the excuses that are being given.
But even with an infrastructure deficit, Mr. Cudjoe, of about 70%, which makes it obviously difficult to access healthcare facilities, even in some urban centers, even with a life expectancy of close to 60 years, which shows that we are not exactly a healthy nation, with 30% of the women dying in labor because they are bleeding. You believe that we have not set a specific need enough to warrant this measure?
Well, if your argument holds, and I was coming to that as well, because even in urban and peri-urban areas, you have some of the scariest examples of lack of blood. This is an issue. Is the issue really, as most people have counted, as a supply issue or actually a distribution issue? I think we need to understand that as well, because in most of the cases I've heard, even in cities, concerning blood and even essential medicines, it has always been an issue of the availability of the product rather than the distribution of the product. So you can even say that for even ambulances as well. You see what I'm saying, that we are upturning the whole rationale of this exercise.
Okay.
So while I hear you, I can also make arguments about healthcare. Why there are many reasons why people are falling sick. While you deploy drones, you may also want to look at the preventive healthcare options as well. Okay. You may even want to look at counterfeit medicines as well. There are so many reasons. So that's why I say that the justification for a 30% coverage of pregnant women who go into labor and do not come back alive, and the justification that we need to drop drugs to all places of the country simply does not hold, because not just the infrastructure, which we need to fix, but the attendant care that also should accompany these interventions. Look, if this was like a $500,000 pilot project, maybe yes, pilot it and let's see how it works. But to then have this skill and then say that, well, you are not buying the drones, but you are renting the drones. Question is, if all these 70% of persons who are not accessing proper health care keep existing, are we going to be on a lifeline support from drones for the next foreseeable 4, 5, 6 years? Would that be part of the medium to long-term plan?
Okay.
It's a very important question I think we need to ask.
Right. Thanks a lot for your comments on this issue, but you would ask that you stay on the line with us very, very briefly, because you have also been speaking out about this EC logo way back from, I think, 2016 when it was changed. But let's first of all hear Bosman Asare. He's deputy chairperson of the commission. He's a commissioner there, and he gives justification for a switch back to the old logo.
When we assumed office on August 1st, there are 4 new commissioners that joined the 3 commissioners, several meetings here and there, and we came to a consensus that we should restore the old logo. And so the chair had to write an internal memo to that effect.
What was wrong with the new one introduced by Charlotte Osei?
I think in the meetings of the commission, it was decided that the one we have introduced now is more representative of the work of the Electoral Commission rather than the one which was introduced by Madame Charlotte Osei and her team. This is not supposed to cost any significant amount of money because the logo was already there. So our balance, we say Sankofa, we just went back for it and we are using it. The letterheads that should have been done when new commissioners came on the scene, we've not even done them. So we are yet to do them with this old logo which has now come back.
So how much are we looking at?
So I can't give a particular figure. I don't expect it to be anything significant.
Bosman Asare speaking there to Ernest Kojo Menu. Franklin Kojo is still on the line, and of course, Imani Africa is a policy think tank, and so they are deeply involved in electoral matters as well. Mr. Kojo, would you say this is a prudent move?
Well, to the extent that the significant change on the letterhead, we are told, is that the old commissioners' names were still on the letterhead. That I think it's noble to change. I do not know what decision went into changing the logo. My only the explanation I've gotten from the EC boss herself essentially is to say that, look, this didn't cost us a thing, but we only went back. It was a decision by the 7-member committee, the commission, to go back for the old logo. Question is, how did we arrive at the old logo, the logo that was changed? And the same decision, if they're capricious, it would have meant also that this in itself is also quite capricious. So both ways, they get squared. The only justification I see is the names of the previous commissioners on letterheads, which ought to reflect the new ones. I suspect they wanted to change the names of the commissioners on the old letterhead, the new, and then thought along the way, let's just change the logo. So it was as capricious as well as it was the same for the previous decision.
Well, that decision would extend beyond letterheads, won't it? Because you're talking about signage on buildings. You're going to talk about ballot screens or ballot boxes. You're going to talk about a number of implements, anything at all that carries the Electoral Commission logo. Now, Mr. Bosman Asare, in that interview we just played, was saying that they feel it doesn't reflect the functions of the Electoral Commission, and so they need to change the logo. Some of the most popular comments I have seen on Twitter, and I'll pull a couple of them for you to buttress the point further, are that it's not necessary. We don't need to necessarily change the logo.
Well, at the end of the day, though, question I have is, I think I'm not getting the picture clearer.
Great.
I mean, if there's this attendant effect on signages and what have you,
great,
and it really, really costs money. We should be interested in that as well. I still think it's capricious, really. It's needless.
Okay. So, without getting that justification, remembering the justification that Madame Charlotte Osei gave us for changing the first logo in the first place, and this commission stating that they needed to reflect the function of the Electoral Commission. Remember that all that controversy that surrounded that decision. You still think that it was needless?
Well, first of all, question really I have is, what is it about Africans and showy? We have a very showy character, really. I mean, logos themselves, I don't know what they actually portend for us. It's not as if the logos essentially deliver excellent service in the way. If they were, would have had governments delivering on proper health care so that we don't have to deploy drones. Because unless, of course, I say the drones will now have the insignia of Ghana, freedom and justice, and then as a result of that, we'll get good services. I don't even understand this symbolism about, signages anyway. So, look, I'm getting quite worked up already.
But don't we ignore, Mr. Kojo, don't we ignore the power of branding and how it communicates with the people being served? I mean, the EC's approval dropped greatly. The EC's approval dropped greatly after the 2012 elections. And some would say that there is a need for them to rehabilitate their image and be seen as an organization that serves the public, especially in a function as sensitive as a national election, which is so polarized on its own.
Well, Daniel, the signage of the Electoral Commission, when it was changed, did it impact on the elections anyway? Didn't we get one of the most excellent run elections ever? I don't get the analogy. I mean, symbols are important, just as branding the nation is important. Branding a country or branding an institution has nothing to do with its how powerful it is. It is in the delivery of its functions. That is why we had a challenge with Ghana Brand Office, because we said nation branding is about what? Doing well on the business index. How it is easy to register a property, register a business, pay a tax, and register property, a construction permit. Those things are the things countries look for. And other countries are looking out to be ranked on the basis of innovation. Question is, if this whole business about changing logos would enhance our innovation in delivering elections, well, maybe yes. Otherwise, the point I'm making really is that it's neither here nor there, and we shouldn't split hairs over branding and logos. Because at the end of the day, logos don't deliver. In fact, it's not about the logos inspiring confidence. If it were the case, we wouldn't have problems with the Ghana police, right? Don't they have service with integrity? As most institutions have. Even many institutions in this country have got very interesting mottos.
Touche. Yes, the Afrobarometer often ranks the Ghana Police as the most corrupt institution.
I'm not even saying, you are now saying. My point is, if the uniform they wear alone can inspire confidence, then maybe yes. So that when you see a policeman and you are putting your hand in your pocket, you shouldn't be smiling. Right? These things all are very interesting. So my point is, we focus too much on the symbolism of things we need to do. We should move away from these things and deliver proper service. I mean, I don't care whether there's an elephant head that is on the EC's logo, or an umbrella, or a lion, or whatever it is. Deliver elections on me. I don't want ballot boxes to be stolen.
Okay.
Yes, ballot boxes ought to be identified properly. But, hey, It is neither here nor there.
Okay.
If it were the cases of changing symbols, it would have changed our lives drastically.
Thank you very much, Franklin Cudjoe, for joining us this morning on these two issues. Franklin Cudjoe is founder and president of Imani Africa. Raymond Akwa is still with us in the studio. Interesting thoughts on the two issues. Which one do you want to start from?
Okay, let's start with the conversation on drones because it's important. It's about healthcare delivery and what we prioritize as a state. Now, I said this quickly because there was a need to do something quickly. I believe that let's not pretend because we have drones, automatically all of our healthcare problems and infrastructure difficulties get wiped away. And I'm also not thinking that government's main claim is that drones are the panacea to all of our healthcare problems.
In fact, when I used the expression silver bullets this morning, someone texted me and said, but we haven't said this is the silver bullet. And I said, I haven't said you have said this is the silver bullet.
So let's not go in that direction. I think the questions being raised about value for money is important. And often we overlook the relevance of some of these projects and how much it will cost the state, only to be blowing up in our faces later on. Remember the SNIT OBS system. Exactly. Later on, it was becoming a big expenditure line for us in the country. We need to carefully, and I see Parliament trying to do that, carefully scrutinize this deal to make sure it's in the best interest of the state. If it's in the best interest of the state, I have no problems with having, let's say, a village somewhere near Mankesim, having blood being supplied to the critical needs of the people and a woman's life being saved. That's very critical in this case. That doesn't mean that we are not doing the other things you have to do. That doesn't mean the community will not get their clinic. It doesn't mean that we don't need health professionals in the area. It doesn't mean that all the huge problems, the over-concentration of doctors in Accra and Kumasi will not end with drones. That's something that we actually ought to understand in this country and see how we are fixing that too. So we want to know how all of those things are being dealt with alongside the introduction of technology. And again, if technology is supposed to make your lives better and it's going to cost more than the usual system, then it's going to be problematic. Then the effectiveness scale is also being doubted in this case. Because for a system to be more effective, it should be using less resources to attain more.
Raymond, allow me to wrap you up so I move you to the next issue. So your question is, are we getting value for our money?
Yeah.
Not just in terms of, are we getting the best price for the technology, but also, are we really getting the best in terms of outcomes for the service that we are spending money
mindful
on?
Of our health goals over the long term that we want to achieve in this case.
Awesome points there. Now, the logo.
Now, I think we sometimes become too much interested in the winner takes all thinking. So, for example, there's a new East, let's revert. Let's show to the world that we've taken over in the same way. And I was opposed to the introduction of this rebranding scheme by the Electoral Commission. I did not think in any way that merely having to change logos and all of the things that comes with it was relevant. Remember that we asked Charlotte Osei's team how much it cost. She didn't think it was priority at the time.
You asked Charlotte Osei?
Yes, I consistently was interested in the cost. Said, why are we fixated over cost issues when the most important part is the reform that comes along with that? Now we are back to square one. I think the decision now to also make the change was needless. It was going to... See, listen, the Electoral Commission today to be telling us how they are planning for the next set of elections, how they are planning for the referendum, how they are planning for the other things that are important to us, how they will make sure that an election of 9,000 delegates does not take 2 days. And because this commission, this will be their, when 4 members of the team are replaced, this will be their first main election. How they are going to deliver on the most successful elections. Those are the things I want to hear from my commission. Not restoring old ones, not changing signages. It's not Consolidated Bank taking over a new bank or something like that. It's the same commission. In any case, many people did not really care about the earlier change. So far as we were still convinced that there was monetary engagement, and yet we were being told there was no monetary engagement. I also have a difficulty with the claim that this will not cost us anything huge. Again, the Electoral Commission has offices across the country, virtually every single district office. Let's look at it this way. They have regional offices too. What we're going to do is that all of these people have to change the signs that show that there's an Electoral Commission on. Back to the old one. When they removed the old one, they didn't keep it. They threw them away. That means they have to put up at least new signs in this case. I believe that that amount of money can go into something like educating the public on voter education rules and also the many things that are required, even ahead of the referendum in this case. We hope. And Charlotte Osei's main claim was that the money was not coming from Ghanaians. There was donor funds. So it was not a big deal.
No, but if you look at the amount of our budget, the percentage of our budget that is subvented by donor funds, that money as well, we should be concerned about it.
Elections are expensive. That is in this country. everything should be done to reduce it.
Exactly.
I want to see the Electoral Commission coming out with feasible plans on reducing the cost of the election, so that Ghanaian would, of course, we vote, but sometimes we don't get to choose who we vote for in the first place. So that Ghanaian will have meaning to the cost that we put to these areas. And changing of logos really did not add any iota of integrity to the new institution. It does not entrench fairness in their systems. It only makes it sound a bit petty.
Okay, 28 minutes to the top of the hour. The thoughts of Raymond Akwa there. So I'm putting a question to you, really, listening to us. Is the directive to reverse to the original EC logo a prudent one? What do you think? And health is not politics. We've heard Dr. Anthony Siasari Mountain a spirited defense for the drone health service delivery. Is the deal a useful one, or you agree with Franklin Kujo, who says he's not convinced? We'll be asking you to comment on this when we come back. Stay with us.
It's a new day. I want you to first think big, not small. Think of how great we can be when we work together. Together, we can ensure that our hard work will provide a better future. Together, we can provide a foundation for you and your business to succeed, regardless of its size. Together, we can create opportunities for all. Bank with us today and let's journey forward together. Forward together. Cowbank, forward together.
The other day, as I was in my kitchen preparing my special jollof made with lily rice for my family, I heard a knock at the door. It was my mechanic. Instead of calling me to pick my car, he brought it himself. I said, "Cho." He said, "F-O." I said, "Take the car back. I will come and pick it myself." As I turned off the fire from under the lily jollof, there was another knock at the door. It was my neighbor. I said, neighbor. He said, "F-O, my dog has jumped your wall again, oh." I said, "Don't be silly. You don't have a dog." My wife and kids came home, and we saw that he enjoyed. Cho, it was my pastor. He said, "Bless you." I said, "Bless you too." He said, "Did he come to church on Saturday?" I said, "Cho, but why are you coming to tell me this on Wednesday?"
Having to fend off visitors at mealtimes because of Lele's tasty aromatic rice? Celebrate every mealtime by sharing with friends and family, near or far. Lele, tasty food, happy family.
Acho! This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Food and Drugs Authority.
Airtel Tigo has expanded all across Ghana so we could bring you the kind of network you deserve. And for sticking with us throughout the past year, we say thank you as Airtel Tigo opens a new chapter. Airtel Tigo.
In everybody's eyes, the Mensahs are different. It is not because of how loudly Grandpa Mensah boasts. It is not because of how Mrs. Mensah is making big plans to open a new shop. It is not because Mr. Mensah's son has a list of fantastic dreams. It is not because Mr. Mensah is always giving great advice. But it is because Mr. Mensah took a My Life insurance policy for his family so that they can feel free to live the life they want. Be a hero to your family. My Life. Live more.
Call My Life on 0242 439 999.
Crossover with Pastor Mensah Otabil.
Hello, my friends. I'm Pastor Mensah Otabil, and I want to extend a very special invitation to you as we conclude the year. We're going to have crossover at the Independence Square of Accra. Each one of us can look back at the year, and we can remember something God did. For some of you, this was the year you got married. Some of you had a baby this year. Some of you bought a house. Some of you got promoted this year. And no matter what it was, even if there were dark moments and there were difficulties, there's always going to be a spot in your life where you'd say, God visited me. God did something special for me. And I conclude the year to return my thanksgiving to him. And that's what Crossover is all about. Come join us as we welcome the new year together at Crossover at the Independence Square.
Crossover 2018, Independence Square, 9 p.m. prompt.
Hello, is this Amayebwa, please? Oh, congratulations, madam. You have won 10,000 Ghana cedis.
Eh?
Yes, so you are now 10,000 Ghana cedis richer. But before you can access your prize, you will have to send a small token to this mobile money number along with your mobile money PIN to redeem your prize.
Ah, Don't be a mugu. MTN or employees of MTN will never call you to pay any money or send airtime before you redeem your promotional prize. You only win in a promotion you have participated in. Remember not to share your mobile money PIN under any circumstance. It's your secret. If you're in doubt, call 100 or visit any MTN service center for assistance or clarification. You can also report fraudulent mobile money activity to mmfraud.gh@mtn.com or send a text to 1515. MTN, everywhere you go.
Save the day! Something big, black, and mind-blowing is coming! Get ready, Ghana, for the biggest mega sale of the year! I cannot miss out! The Jumia Black Friday starts November 16th to December 7th. Up to 80% discount on thousands of brand new genuine products exclusively on Jumia.com.gh. TVs, phones, fridges, shoes, blenders, and many more. Best prices and delivered to your doorstep. Pay cash on delivery and enjoy a 7-day return guarantee with full refund. Jumia, the online shop you can trust.
Let's go,
My name is Kwame Sefakai, and most of you know me as a media personality, but I am also a family man. The UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, saves me so much time by letting me do almost all of my banking transactions on my phone. The cardless withdrawal feature allows me to withdraw cash from any UMB ATM without an ATM card. I can also pay bills, transfer money, request for a loan, invest money, and so much more. So now, I can spend less time at the bank and more time with the ones I love. Bank anywhere and anytime with a UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, and get the time to do what you love most. Download the UMB Speed App from your Android, iOS, or Windows phone today. Call 0302-633-988 for more information. UMB Speed App, Digibank, let's go!
Star Times presents the Drama Pack December. Stay connected and sink in your seat for pure entertainment and intense drama this December on Star Times. Enjoy the much anticipated television series of the year, Leila Jansi's 40 and Single. Prepare for more wows and cheers in the Ghana Challenge as contestants and celebrities battle for the ultimate cash prize on Abdipa TV. Don't miss House of Umoja. It's fun time with SpongeBob on our kids channel. Get your Star Times decoder now at a reduced price from 90 Ghana cedis to 70 Ghana cedis this Christmas. Star Times, change your view.
But I thought you said your place was ransacked by thieves a short while ago. So how did you manage to replace all your stuff so quickly? Hey, then it must have cost you an arm and a leg.
Nope, it only cost me 80 Ghana cedis.
Oh, Master, how is that possible? 80 Ghana cedis?
Oh, yes.
Must have stopped the concert. Or did the thief steal your brain as well?
Charlie, my brain is on point. I took a household content policy from Enterprise Insurance. Which cost me 80 Ghana cedis a year.
I see.
So after the break-in, they replaced everything.
From as little as 80 Ghana cedis a year, whether you are a tenant or a landlord, you can insure the content of your home against burglary, fire and flood. Sign on to the Enterprise Household Content Policy and secure your home.
Enterprise, your advantage.
This festive season, there's no place like home to enjoy all the entertainment on offer with GoTV.
There's no place like home to see all my favorite cartoon characters.
There's no place like home to settle in for countless hours of great movies.
There's no place like home to experience all the passion of telenovelas.
There's no place like home to catch all the football and WWE action.
Get a GoTV decoder, GoTenna, and 1 month of GoTV Plus subscription for only 89 Ghana cedis.
GoTV. Live it. Love it.
Super Morning Show.
And this is how we do it on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. I am Daniel Daze. So the way we really do it is that we give you the opportunity to speak your mind, if I can use that expression. And I've had so many of your messages coming through. I'm going to read a few of them now. But before that, happy birthday to David Afugani. Chief Commercial Officer of Innesfly Africa from the entire Multimedia Group Limited, and also Mr. Osu Kranting, General Secretary of Maritime and Dock Workers Union. Happy birthday from Ian Okwe. Now, the former presiding member for the Secondary Takoradi Metro Assembly, Edwin Phillips, doing the listening on Radio Max 105.1 FM, says, Daniel, good morning. I would have you ask Mr. Kujo if he hasn't heard of situations where, for example, someone in a village has a snake bite and that particular health post has no anti-snake serum. The drones can help deliver emergency drugs even to CHIPS compounds somewhere. We'll be taking a lot more of that. Edem Lachu from North Kaneshi says the distribution of medicals and blood with drones is a laudable initiative, but the cost involved, full stop. Again, if at the end we are not owning the drones, let's forget it. It doesn't add up at all. You can also send in your message on 0244 340 437. At Joy997 FM is the Twitter handle, Joy99.7 FM is the Facebook page, and the phone lines are open on 0302 216-541. But speaking of the Electoral Commission, before I come to Abraham in Accra, okay, let me pick Abraham's phone call. Good morning, Gaby.
Yeah, good morning, Dan. How are you, sir?
I am blessed. How are you?
I'm okay.
Let's hear your thoughts. So, which are you commenting on, the health or the EC?
I want to talk about both. I don't know if I'm allowed to.
You have just about 30 seconds. Speak on for me.
Okay, all right, then it's fine. On the drones, few years ago when I saw Rwanda launch it, I was quite excited by it. I thought, when will Ghana ever get there? And for some reason we are there, but it looks like we are all kind of criticizing it. I don't know why. If it works in Rwanda, we praise it, but when it works in Ghana, we are against it. Secondly, on the EC logo, clearly the new logo that was brought in by the former EC didn't have any resemblance that is Ghana's EC. The former one, or let me say the original one, rather shows that this is Ghana's EC. And moreover, I didn't understand why she even had to change the core value of such an important state institution. That you change the values and change the logo. It didn't make sense. So I think the restoration is in order. It's like somebody your predecessor making mistakes and you coming in to correct it.
So you agree with both decisions?
Sorry?
You agree with both decisions?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Abraham, for calling us. Ni is calling from Asylum Down. Good morning, Ni.
Good morning. How are you?
I am blessed. How are you?
I'm well too.
Awesome.
This morning, your arguments are very good, but I think you guys are not too resourceful in terms of what kind of questions you should be asking. Okay, one, fine. The EC logo that has been changed. Don't you think there should be a facility manager in every single EC office across the country? And don't you think that we need to have saved those logos that were removed or those flags that were removed from the walls for future references 20, 30 years down the line? That thing will cost. Do you know how much that thing can cost? It's called an artifact. That's how we should be addressing the point. Franklin Kujo also comes to throw mud in the water. He doesn't know anything. Please, let us educate ourselves properly. Those EC logos that were removed from the walls, they should have been kept. We don't have to pay any more money for them to be put back on the wall. Please.
Well, Ni, you make a point that they should have been kept, and I love the way you stated that. Were they? No, realistically speaking, as a nation, let me finish.
For that, if it wasn't kept, because this country, things go without consequences. Without the consequences, we will still be where we are. Somebody should be held accountable.
You know what? Thanks, Ni, for telling us what you think. Hawa from Kolebu is on the other line. Good morning, Hawa.
Yes, good morning, Daniel.
Hawa, please reduce the volume on your radio sets for me and go ahead. Yes. So are you touching on the drones or you're touching on the EC logo?
I'm touching on both.
Very quickly.
The drones, right? In Ghana, we all know that we have a lot of issues to tackle regarding health. For instance, most of the facilities that we have, right, are not properly equipped, and we want to go for drones. Some of these problems are not basically about blood. It's about the care that the women actually get, the negligence of attendants, and so on and so forth. We don't have ambulances. When people are in critical conditions, there are no ambulances to convey them to where they can be treated.
So again, Hawa, I'm going to raise the same question I raised with Franklin Kujo. In the first place, the drones are not only delivering blood, though I hear you addressing the 30% women dying because of bleeding. That's a statistic that has been established. On the other hand, we are working to provide other incentives and infrastructure in the health sector.
Okay.
Yeah, not just, we are not just doing drones and going to bed. Sorry for using that expression.
Daniel, the technical know how to handle the drone. Let's be realistic in Ghana. Are we going to pay people from out, those who are bringing the drones, to be paying them all the time? I'm sure it's going to be a very huge amount.
Yes, so the $12 million, we are paying them over 4 years. Just because you asked the question, the $12 million, we are paying them over 4 years to provide the service. That means to man the drones. But I have to take Nana Kweku from Kumasi. Thanks, Hawa, for calling us from Kolebu. Nana Kweku is on the line. Good morning, Nana.
Hello, good morning. How are you doing?
I am blessed. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Now, I have a little problem, and it's about journalists in Ghana. You see, there is every issue that we have to call these think tanks. It's not every issue that they have a grip about. There's sometimes
yes.
always
so, Nana, what's your opinion? What's your opinion on the issue? Let's hear that.
My opinion is that, you see, a war-torn country has been able to do this. It is not that with the population increase in Ghana, there's no way that we're going to have every health facility as in look and cranny of our country doing the same thing, or even going to have facilities. But at least you can start from some point. People are dying. People cross river with pregnant women. But with just a blood or something of that sort, that because of health facility at the village it doesn't have, a nurse or a midwife can just perform some small things. Because blood, these drones, I've been watching them on YouTube and everything. If the drone can just take it there, they will start at least with a nurse or a chip compound there and a lady doing it. Suddenly, at the point in time, we get some, even just some small chip compound for them, and the nurse can perform just small surgical operations there.
Thank you very much, Nana Kweku, for calling us from Kumasi. Salifu is on the line from Cove Town. Good morning, Salifu. How's Cove Town?
Good morning, Mr. Dazi. How are you too?
I am blessed.
Hello?
Yes, you're on air. Salifu, let's hear you. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to appeal to our politicians. They should always take time to explain to the public whatever ideas that they are bringing. This health issue is a good thing, but the explanation is not well done to we the public. So it has made the minority or other politicians or other people to feel that the whole thing is bad. So I would like all of you, especially you the media, to explain that this drum, I don't understand what it is. So please, let us know how it is. So that if our politicians are making fun of us, then we, the public, we can resist. But for the EC logo, I don't know whether they want to make that, I'm in charge, so I want to do that. I don't see the essence of changing it.
Okay. Salifu, thank you very much for calling us. You called us from Cove Town. And that's the last phone call we're going to take this morning. Thanks so much. Christmas is here and it's family time. Your family station Joy 99.7 brings you the Christmas edition of Party in the Park. The Party in the Park allows you to pack that lovely picnic basket. Join us at the Legon Botanical Gardens on Saturday the 22nd of December for a refreshing, fun-filled family day. The rate is a cool 25 Ghana cedis for a family of 5. Grab your tickets at the front desk of Joy FM. Come, make merry and bond interactively with other families. It's brought to you by Wilma Africa Limited, First National Bank, Dule Yogurt, Pepsi, Vidya Bookstore, JMRO & Sons, and BIC. Joy FM, family in the park. My family, my joy. Now, the Electoral Commission announces for the information of the general public and all registered voters that the Commission will, from Sunday the 2nd of December to Thursday the 6th of December 2018, accept applications for proxy voting and for the transfer of votes to districts within the proposed regions of Ahafo, Bono East, Savannah, North, East, Oti, and Western North. If you're a football fan and a real super fan, this is your chance to see your favorite teams go head-to-head live in their home stadia in the UK. Simply open a Barclays Ultimate account, maintain a balance of at least 500 Ghana cedis and swipe to make payments with your Barclays card as often as you can to win an all-expenses-paid trip to the UK to watch your favorite teams go head-to-head live. You can also win a stadium experience in our local Superfan penthouse and take away exciting home items and your favorite team souvenirs. Don't miss out on your chance to experience football the way it was meant to be experienced, live with Barclays. Visit our Facebook and Twitter for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Barclays, part of the ABSA family. Now, the biggest mega sale of the year comes to a close this Friday, 7th December. If you haven't gotten that fridge, that laptop, that phone, that TV, that washing machine, blender or microwave, what are you waiting for? Hurry, it's now or never. Thousands of products are still up for grabs at unbelievable prices. At midnight on Thursday, 6th of December, we kick off with a 99% off treasure hunt of the all-new iPhone XS. You can also get additional discounts worth as much as 500 Ghana cedis with lots of free vouchers. Visit jumia.com.gh or download the Jumia app now for these and many more exciting deals starting at midnight on Thursday, 6th December. Jumia, the online shop you can trust. And Anymore has some of your messages.
So this one says, personally, I don't think we need the drones now. One, we have to fix the infrastructure. Do we even have enough blood and medication? Are there enough nurses to administer these medications and blood if the drones deliver them? This one says, this drone matter, how is Ghana prepared with maintenance culture? The technological device may just break down in 2 weeks and you'll hear excuses that the drones are not working. Who repairs the drones? The president or his family members? Ghana cannot maintain wooden chairs in offices. Now they want drones for 2 weeks now. Why can't we set priorities right in this country?
Before you take that next one, again, the communication from government has been that the Zipline is running a service, so we are paying them for deliveries. And not, we are not the ones going to be running the drones or maintaining them if this indeed goes through. So the maintenance, the answer to your question is it's Zipline. The company is going to be maintaining it.
And that was from Passion in Tema. Good morning, SMS. I think what we need now is good roads, ambulances, medicines, and other facilities available. That's from Joseph. This distribution of medical or blood with drones is a laudable initiative, but the cost involved, again, if at the end we're not owning the drones, let's forget it. It doesn't add up. That's from Edem Lachu, North Kanishi.
All right, thanks to you all for sending your messages. Keep sending them in. We're going to take these important messages. And then Corruption Watch is up next. Stay with us.